I heard you.
Well, okay. Better you than me.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Right.
So I would like to introduce the amazing Robin Sears.
And everyone, I'd like to introduce the amazing Brad Sears.
So we're working some stuff out. It's been a couple months since we've had one of these meetings, and we're starting back and really getting after it. And you're in for a treat tonight. It's gonna be a little bit different, and so for the people that are here for the first time, give us the latitude to come back in 2 weeks. It'll be better. But we're gonna kind of tag team this, right? So.
Apparently, I'm starting. So tonight we call our AAA'z night, and we do that because AAA'z stands for Allies, Advocates, and Associates. And so basically tonight is about sharing with you an opportunity that is before us. And so for the associates in the room, those are the folks who generally see the opportunity, are excited and dedicated to be part of this solution and part of this opportunity. And for our allies and our advocates in the room, you've been invited tonight because you're being supportive of your friend who's raised their hand and said, I want to be part of this. And so you're going to hear all about the opportunity for your ability to be supportive, because the more you understand what these guys have really dedicated themselves to, the more you can be supportive, right? And the same thing of you, of them in your life. So, with that said, let's see what life looks like today. The truth is that the situation today, the financial situation in our country, in our community, is pretty bleak, right? People continue to struggle to find good paying jobs, no matter how much college you have. 75% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Nearly half of Americans have less than $500 of savings. Unemployment rate for those under 25, at least twice the national average. Debt is forcing college grads to move back home, or in the case of most of the students, to never leave home. And the average household with one credit has $15,706 made for debt. Now here's what we know. If this is what life looks like today for 75% of Americans, or half of Americans, or the average Americans, that means that this is what life looks like for all of you in the equation. That means at least half of this room, if not more of you, have $500 or less in your savings. What position does that put you in? If you need a car to go to school, and you suddenly have your car break down, and you absolutely have to get it fixed, and it costs $600, what do you do? How do you get to school? If you have an emergency illness, how do you pay your bills? What if you keep work? How many of us go to sleep at night wondering what the heck to do? Whether or not we can change it. So what's your life look like? I know most of us in here are really uninterested in working a 9-to-5 job right there for the next 65 years. We're pretty much sick of living paycheck to paycheck. Yeah? We're tired of just making ends meet. And at the end of the day, we're all just hoping and living on the prayer. And that just doesn't sound like very fun to live. I know it's not the way Tony wants to live. And yet it's the way that we're all living right now. At least 75%. Guaranteed. And how we end up here? Well, the world's organized in an interesting way that we're all familiar with. There are wealthy people at the top. Wealthy people have access to everything, right? They have access to financial guidance. They have access to education. They have access to opportunity. They have access to financial freedom, the ultimate believer. And in this room, financial freedom for us means the ability to do what you want, when you want, with who you want to do it. And I say I don't judge, but I can do. How great would that be? How much more fun would it be to go to sleep with financial freedom than worry about whether or not something's going to happen to your car? And the truth of the matter is that there's hundreds of thousands of people who wake up every day to say, how can we serve the people at the top? And it makes sense. So the people who can pay us, right? And then what's really interesting is we've got these folks at the bottom that we call the not so wealthy. And at the end of the day, the folks that are not so wealthy actually have access to lots of free services. There's free preschool, and there's college grants. And what's amazing is that this line, most people don't think about it, right? We think about people who have almost nothing. But the truth is, this line can be the difference of $100 a year. If you make $100 a year over the minimum for free preschool, you're out. That's the line that we don't think about. And hundreds of thousands of people wake up every day to take care of this group of people. We call it institutionalized support. And so what's happening in the middle? Main Street families. All of us. We want our kids to go to preschool, but we make too much money for the free stuff. And most of you know we have twins. I started looking at preschool because, they're going with a 2. That's like a full salary. Right from Disney. Children going to college, you better make sure you save for it. I got plenty of folks in here trying to figure out how to pay for that next class. We'd love to own a business, but we don't have the capital to do it. And at the end of the day, the truth is we are the ones who need the financial advice, but no one wants to give it to us because we don't have enough money that it's worthwhile to give us the advice. And so we're stuck here in what we call institutionalized struggle. And we call it institutionalized struggle because it's not changing, it's only getting worse. And what most of us do is we accept it. We put our head in the sand, do the best that we can, because we don't think that there's actually an opportunity for anything. When we took a step back and said, why is this? How did we end up here, and why are we stuck here? And most of us in this room know that it's because we have no access. We don't have access to the tools and resources and the information that wealthy people have access to. That's why we're here. And until we change it, nothing is going to change. Nothing's going to change in the world out there. Nothing's going to change in the world. So the good news is, we're not here to be completely different. He's like, why did you bring me here? What we're really here for is to find out that we actually have choices. Information is power. But what we talk about is that it's really about applying the information. That's where the power is. So what are our choices? Our choices are that we can do nothing or we can do something.
Let's sink it.
I was about to say, it's earth-shattering, isn't it? You're like, you brought me to a meeting to learn that I can do something or do nothing? Seriously, Tony? Yeah, he brought you to a meeting to learn that you can do nothing or you can do something. Think about it. How many of us actually do nothing?
One of the things to think about is the slide that listed all of those facts. Like, they were true 6 weeks ago, right? They were true a year ago, 6 months ago. The question is, when we talk about this do nothing and this do nothing and do something concept, right? It isn't earth-shattering, but what have we done? Because the story hasn't changed. The situation isn't any better or necessarily any worse. But when we look back at our choices, our decisions, and our options, if we had to check a box that wasn't looking forward, saying, what do we want to do? If we were looking at this saying, what have we done? What box have we checked?
I'm going to go out on a limb. those statistics were from 2013. And that's the point, right? We can go back to 2010. The question is, in this room, what choice are we going to do something? Or are we going to do nothing? And so what are those options actually? Do nothing options. Here's what we're really good at. We're going to hope and pray. It's just going to work out. Please, God, let it work out. I'm just going to buy that lottery ticket. I'm just going to hope. I'm going to hope that I saved enough. And then I'm going to find out at age 58 and a half that I didn't, and I have to keep working for another 10 years. I'm going to hope that I have enough for college. And then I'm going to find out that I actually have to go into $100,000 of debt. Hoping and praying is doing nothing. We explain it away. It's not like I can change anything. I'm doing the best I can. We accept it as normal. Well, my other friends are like this. Everyone else I hang out with is like this. They're all in the same boat. So we do nothing. But what would it look like if we did something? Here are 5 do something options. One thing we could do is get a new job. Yeah, we're working on it. We can get a new job. We can go drive for Uber. We can drive tomorrow for Uber. We can go back to school. Go get a master's. Go get a JD. I'm a lawyer. You can go get $200,000 in debt. Go get a JD. You can save and protect your family so that the next generation is taken care of. You can actually invest to make your money work for you. You invest $20 a month instead of getting that extra latte at Starbucks. $20 a month, every month, for 12 months. Ready for the next earth-shattering thing? You're going to have more than you didn't save anything. Right? Amazing. Amazing how that works. And yet we wait. We say, well, when I have enough, then I'll start. You could build your own business. You could start building for your own future. These are all things you can do. So which do something makes the most sense to you? Now, here's something you have to be aware of. A lot of times we go to do something, and what we don't realize is that we're actually setting ourselves up for a do-nothing, for a plan that didn't make the difference that we intended it to make. How many of us are told, go to school, get to college, get a good job? It's all taken care of. How many of us are going to school and finding out that this isn't so easy to get? Heck, I went back to school. I got my law degree. And to be quite honest, I make a really good living. I'm a slave to my job. I work day and night. I have anything but financial freedom. So I'm standing here because I went back and did something, and I'm standing before you as if I did nothing. Because we were in a position where we were living paycheck to paycheck. So we have a big, beautiful house that we pay a lot of money for. We have great cars that we pay a lot of money for. We have 4 children that we pay a lot of money for. We have 4 children that we pay a lot of money for. And at the end of the day, we were in the same boat as everybody else. People living in Stevenson Ranch, paying for a big home, versus someone living in an apartment in Burbank. My husband calls him just a better shade of broke. It was a do something plan that turned into do nothing. And so if we're going to do something, we need to make sure to do something that's going to put us on the path that we want to be. That's what we're going to talk about today. What is that? Do something. So what if you could actually protect your family, invest to make your money work for you, and build your own business? I think that if we've got 3 out of 5 do somethings, we're much more likely to end up in a place where we've actually done something. That's the opportunity that we have faced. So that we can do something, and know that we do something, it's going to get it done. Shall we do something?
No, so, I mean, part of this is kind of looking at, most of us have this tendency where something comes up and we immediately want to go to action. The question is 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now, are we going to be in a better place, right? I love this one because right in today's economy, people go, there's ways to go create income. And that's a phenomenal thing. The challenge is if you're making enough money right now and you need an extra $500 a month, if we go do anything that makes an extra $500 a month, within 6 months to a year, what have we done with our lifestyle? Have we increased it? If you're all making $3 grand a month and your boss gives you an extra $500, how long before you're spending $3,500 a month just for your normal lifestyle? Right? It doesn't take that long, right or wrong. If your boss called you up 6 months later and goes, "Oh my God, we totally screwed up that raise we gave you. We screwed up. We're supposed to give to somebody else. We got to take you from 3,500 back to 3." How many of you would panic? Because we got used to that lifestyle. The challenge is when we start doing something to solve that immediate problem, pretty soon it becomes part of our normal life. Which means, can we ever stop doing that certain action once we've got it to where it's part of our lifestyle? No, we're stuck. We start doing nothing. We start having to reevaluate. So the question is, how do we take care of it? For me, it's always, how do we put this stuff to bed? How do we know that our future is done and taken care of, right? We just start checking this stuff off. Well, one of the things we can do is we can save and protect our family. I'm going to talk about, right, we're in the financial services industry. So we're going to introduce some concepts that some of you might know, some of you might not, some of you might not have ever thought about this. We looked at this access gap and said, what are one of the most important things that the wealthy do is they lock in their advances. They leverage experts and they've got the tools and resources to fundamentally change things, right? When they pass away, they've got families set up in trust. And they said, look, this money, we're going to continue to grow. So we looked at this and said, how do we develop this 1 to 2 generation, 3 generation plan? How could we change it? How could everybody in this room guarantee go to bed tonight knowing that within 3 generations, their families stone wealthy? Now, some of you are 18 and 19, some of you are in your 40s. Have you ever gotten into a conversation where someone was able to legitimately spell out exactly how to make sure that your grandbabies were completely and totally stone wealthy, guaranteed? Ever had that happen? No, and yet there's generation that's had that done. There's people that have had that put together. Why not? Maybe they know some things and they look at things a little bit differently than the rest of the world. See, for America, right, we are in the life insurance industry. Now, none of us dream about life insurance. When we were little kids, we didn't think about it. It's not a topic of conversation, right? And life insurance is a tool that's designed to do something. The wealthy have millions of dollars. If something happens, their families take care of it. Most of us don't have a couple $1 million under the mattress, right or wrong. But I want to introduce a concept to you on thinking about how money works and what's possible. I want to talk to you about a generation plan. Let's just say you took a 30-year-old couple right now, right, and they were generation 0, you, right? So David and Anna, here we go. David and Anna, you're how old? So David and Anna are 30 years old, Anna's a little bit younger, something like that. If all of a sudden, if David and Anna said, you know what, I want to make sure, I got a beautiful daughter, I want to make sure that my grandbabies are completely wealthy. Right? I love my parents, I love my grandparents, right? But they gave me the ability to communicate and to think, but they didn't give me the money gene. And I want to make sure the money gene is instituted in the Camacho family starting today, and I will pay the price. Is it possible? Do we have to rub the lottery ticket? So we said, look, David, if you and Anna had $1 million of life insurance on you guys, right? It would cost $247 a month 30 years old for a 35-year level term. That's $2,900 a year. That over 30 years, that would be $88,000 for your life insurance. 88 grand. No, he's 30, so he's 65 years old. At 65, he's guaranteed renewable, goes up, something like that. If something doesn't happen, we don't want to pass away. But in 60, 70 years old, most of us, 70, 75 years old, we're going to pass away. So maybe by the time we're done, it's $110,000 that David's put in. But see, in life insurance, it's what's called a unilateral contract, which means as long as you pay those premiums every month, whether they like it or not, you know what they have to do if you die? They have to pay. Now, what's the likelihood of you and your wife at some point dying?
Yes.
It's a pretty good chance, right? We don't get out of here alive. Now, this isn't a normal conversation, but watch this. What that means is if you ever see $88,000, between $88,000 and $130,000 contribution is a guaranteed $2 million deposit into your family's account. That's not including the investments we're going to talk about before the slides. That's just making sure that that is locked in. So that start to change the way our family looks at money. Now watch this. At just a 5% rate of return, that pays $100,000 a year in passive income to your daughter. Now you can go, man, $100,000 plus the or just an interest plus the other savings, things are good. But look, if you taught her the same principles, and all of a sudden, generation 2, all of a sudden she goes out, gets married, and she takes just the premium, just the interest that's going through, and we use some of that money. We use $604 and let's say $7,000 a year, making $100,000 a year in interest. If we took $7,000 of it and put it for $5 million for her and her husband, is she paying that money out of her pocket? No, it's coming from this original investment. Now all of a sudden, right, is she going to, her and her husband at some point going to pass away? That's $10 million of guaranteed assets to your family, plus all of the investments. That's $250,000 a year of passive income to your grandbabies. Now, if we did through generation 2, if we took the $25,000 a year of passive income and put $10 million on each, $10 million of insurance, are you kidding me? That's $2,000 a month, that's $24,000 a year. $250,000 a year of interest. You think $24,000 makes a lot of sense? That's $20 million a year, or $20 million guaranteed. That's $500,000 a year of passive income. And in 3 generations, we're at $40 million plus investments, plus growth. Within 2 to 3 generations, could we fundamentally change the way the Camacho family has looked and handled money forever? Now you look at this and go, wait, I don't understand. What is this about? See, this is about understanding that the way we look at money is one way. The way most of us have been raised to look at money and life insurance is a bill. And if we die, Sancho's going to take it, or all this other stuff, or God, it's hard. But the reality is the wealthy say we're going to leverage every tool imaginable. And this is an imaginable tool that says, look, if we live fantastic, we better have a whole bunch of money saved. And if we die, we've got to make sure that we leave our generations building further on. We've turned into this me environment where we're only thinking about us. Well, you know what? That's cute when it's only you. Exactly. Who got the what? Right? So this is y'all excited? See, it's a different way. You start thinking about, you can't see, this is guaranteed. If you make these premium payments, you're guaranteed to die. They're guaranteed to pay. Now, is this the right plan for everybody today? I don't know. But it's the right conversation that we better start having. Better start understanding if we play by the same rules that everyone's always played, you know what we're going to end up with? Exactly the same thing we've always had. And if the wealthy play by a different set of rules, they're going to fundamentally kick our ass every single time. Same thing. She said, man, we've got to have our money work harder for us than we do for it. Most of us, we go down to the bank, we still teach our kids, put your money in the bank. It's still this euphemism. It's the bank. That's the word. It's the language that we give. It's so normal. I talk to people in this business and they still, it's like Scotch tape and Xerox. It's like Pepsi. It's like, you know, just stop with the bank, right? We've got to understand. The Rule 72 tells us how hard our money's working. It says you take the number 72 and you divide it by any interest rate, and it'll tell you how hard it's going to take for your money to double. Now watch this, right? $10,000 at the bank over 48 years is $40,000. The same money at a 6% rate of return is $160,000. And the same money in an average mutual fund that's returned it over 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 years is $2.5 million. Now I want to make sure that we go through this. This is talking about at a 5% rate of return. See, if I showed you, right, the income and equity fund that's returned 10.5%, if I showed this on that, right, your heads would explode. We're talking about an opportunity to fundamentally change our family tree, our community's way of looking at money forever. And no one's coming, and no one's showing up, and no one's talking to us about this stuff. We think this is magic. We think that this is what the smart people are supposed to do, or the people from different education, or different genders, or different colors, or different races, or different whatever. They're the ones that are supposed to be bold. It's supposed to be us. Right? You think the banks are going to have any interest in teaching us this stuff? Why? No, they take our $10,000, they go out and invest it. They make $2.5 million on our money and pay us 40 grand. Why in God's name would they ever teach us how this works? Every once in a while I talk to folks and they're like, well, if this works like this, why doesn't everyone do it? Because they don't have an incentive to teach your butt. Shoot, if I could do it, would you give me 10 grand? I'll give you 40 over 48 years, I'll take $2.5 million. Look, I like to think I'm a good person, but if I had the opportunity to do this, man, I'd probably do it. Maybe I'd give you the 160. I feel bad. I mean, you know what? For you, I'll hook you up. Here's $160. I'm only clear at 2.3. And you're thanking me. See, guys, it's an opportunity to fundamentally change how we think. That's the movement. That's the opportunity. That's the crusade. For some of us that are like, serious cow, dude, I'll get there. Dude, right now, it just doesn't make any sense. Check this out, right? I don't actually know. I think we lost something. I don't know what we're starting with. But how much did we put in? We missed, right? So, $100 a month. If you start at 27 years old, because you wait 1 year, 27 years old, between 27 and 65, that money would grow to $471,000. If we wait 1 year, we don't save from 27 to 28. Just wait that year. You didn't invest that $1,200. The cost is $41,000. If we wait 5 years, we didn't invest the $6 grand. You went out, you went on the cruise, you had too many beers, you did whatever it is, the $6 grand disappeared. It's $175,000 when you need it. If you wait till 42, $358,000. See, guys, every once in a while we go, well, today doesn't matter. Well, the reason why today's matters is it's about habits. If you eat a Twinkie tonight, you will not die. But if you eat a Twinkie every night for the next 30 years, how many think that might have an impact? And it's not just the Twinkie. See, the problem with the Twinkie is the Twinkie might not even cook. But when you have the Twinkie, then you want the soda. And now you've had the Twinkie and the soda, so now you want a piece of pizza. So now you've had the Twinkie, the soda, and the piece of pizza, and now you want some popcorn. And the next thing you know, see, a habit leads to a habit, not just the singular one, but the compound ones. If you're talking about wealth and opportunities, guess what you're going to start seeing? Opportunities for wealth and opportunities. If you start seeing contributing, you start seeing liabilities, that's what you're going to see. If we worry about it until later, it's never going to change. See, our goal is to help families achieve financial security. Step one. The way we do that is by helping and educating families about how money works. Hopefully, we started that process today. But see, our second goal is to help families achieve financial freedom. See, in order to do that, we have to teach the people financial and entrepreneurial secrets that they don't learn in school. See, the reality upon realities is we absolutely can show you a 2 to 3 generation plan. We just showed it. We have the tools, we have the products, we have the resources, we have the opportunities, we have everything we talked about tonight to make sure anyone in this room's grandchildren are wealthy. If they're not, you can't blame it on them or the lack of information. You just checked the do nothing category. Ain't that fun? Right? Every once in a while, people are like, oh, it sucks. It was more fun when I could blame other people. I know. I'll blame Tony. But see, what I'm going to talk about, what we're going to talk about over the next couple of minutes, is this freedom. See, when I talked about Uber, there's nothing wrong with that. The challenge is we've raised our lifestyle. That's what we've got to do because it doesn't keep paying us when we stop. See, part one of freedom is the opportunity for cash flow to contribute and continue whether you're there or not. Right? If you have to work for money, if you stop working, you stop having money. If you stop having money, you stop eating. And so we've got to make sure that we've got an opportunity. And so, right, what we've got to do is build a different way. This concept of entrepreneur, I've been in business for 22 years, 20 years. Literally, I'm just in my 20th year. I was in Primerica being an entrepreneur before the word entrepreneur was cool. For 15 years of it, I was a business owner. The last couple of years, I became an entrepreneur. I've done a whole lot of different things, except you start thinking a little bit different, start understanding. But the reality is, right, this is one of the truer sentences. Most wealth in this country is first generation. Most wealth in this country is first generation. And they don't get it by working jobs. Wealth is created through ownership. And so the question is, how do we get access to it? What do we do? See, there's 4 reasons that people don't go into business for themselves. They don't have the money. Right? If you want to go open up a business, you've got to have overhead. You've got to have a location. You've got to have licenses. You've got to have training. You've got to have tools. You've got to have inventory. You've got to have clients. You've got to, the amount of overhead and amount of expertise that you have is overwhelming. So we looked at our do something set and said, okay, well, let's systematically look at this stuff and go, do we have a do something option? We think we do. So we said, look, if we had low capital entry, right, and our business is built on the opportunity of building your capital reserves, not costing you capital. So we actually flipped it on its butt and said, look, why don't we create the greatest part-time opportunity in the history of the world where you maintain your job, and now instead of having to write a check for $500,000 to get started, we say, we're not going to make money be the reason you don't get successful. We're going to give you every tool. We're going to cover all of the expenses so that that doesn't stop you. Because we didn't want that to be a reason that you got stuck in the do-nothing category. They don't have the knowledge. Well, how could we? Most of us have jobs, and our families have had jobs. And if they've had businesses, no disrespect, any self-employed kids, right? I was a self-employed kid. My mom was a teacher for a long time and then became self-employed, which is fantastic, incredibly successful, but she has the worst boss in the history of the world. Makes her work weekends and nights, doesn't pay her when things aren't good. I mean, her boss sucks. Okay, so I'm going to write this again. See, my mom is self-employed, which means she employs herself. So when I say her boss sucks, she's her boss. It's a joke. Okay. The challenge is, you know why she's a terrible boss? Because no one's taught her how to be a businessman. Because she knew how to get up and work. Most of us know how to get up and work, and so you know what we do? We work. And when there's a problem, we learn how to put out fires. But how do we put out the fire? Based on the experience we have. But does anyone come in and show us a better way? No, so we have to figure it out by either surviving all of the mistakes or figuring out a bad solution that works.
Instead of owning a business, you just own it. That's what most business
As we said, why can't we train? We've got almost 50 years of education, social psychology, and business experience. So why couldn't we develop a training camp that could teach people how to be successful entrepreneurs so they don't have to spend 50 years figuring it out? They could spend a year or two really learning and mastering it, and they could own it, and they could sit in front of anyone and say, you know, it's funny, because I learned from a couple that invested 50 years. I invested 18 months, and I have every tool that they ever taught me down. How much value would that be if people took advantage of it? Fear. Why? Because failure, right? 80% of small businesses fail in the first 5 years. Why? They ran out of money. Why? Because they didn't work hard. No, they didn't have the skills. They didn't have the resources. We said, look, there's no risk. We don't want you to quit your job. We want to turn your job into the greatest asset you have. It's the opportunity to fuel and fund your capital reserves. It's an opportunity to practice the entrepreneurial skills that you're learning. It's an opportunity to get good at developing the language and be able to understand, because these are the people in your life that will be clear as to what's going on. And you can sound like a boob and an idiot sometimes, and you can come back a week later or 2 weeks later, and you can be a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. And the next thing you know, they're like, oh my God, when you talked to me 6 weeks ago, I had no idea what you're talking about, but I understand a little bit more now. Because of that, it becomes one of the most important assets you can have. So now we didn't have to eliminate the risk. We had an opportunity to change our doggone life. And then you can't make enough money. What are you talking about? We said, look, a high potential rate of return. Like, look, the reality is the reason that this business works is that there's 3 sources of income. There's passive income, there's revenue, and there's profit. The ability to earn money on work you did before is critical. The ability to control your work ethic, to be able to have a bump in your cash flow if you want it because you want to move to the next level, is critical. And then the opportunity to teach other people how to do that so that they can have passive income and revenue and you can benefit from it is critical. So we sat down and said, look, here are the 4 reasons that people do nothing. If we systematically eliminated those 4 reasons, we eliminated the do nothing from your opportunity. Our do something solves for it. Why? Because there's a huge calling of 70 million families that desperately need our help, and we need the best of the best that can't get stuck on these things. We need folks emotionally passionate about changing our families' lives to be able to make this a reality for folks. See, because when we looked down and said, man, if we have these things, they're important, but what if not only if we had this opportunity, but what if the business we were talking about was actually built on providing the protection and giving access to the investments and showing people how to build a business? You realize that we could actually bring these things together? Right? If all of a sudden you become an expert at doing this, now all of a sudden you start teaching someone else how to do it. What are you teaching them? Exactly what you're doing. Not something new, not something special. It's not something magical. So you're not living one life and teaching someone else. You're saying, all I'm doing is what I'm doing. And someone's like, how do you do it? You're like, I'm doing this. And then they like, you're doing it. Then they do it. You're like, it worked. And they're like, I know. And they're like, well, how did it work? Because I taught it to you. Well, it shouldn't work like that. Who said? What doesn't work like that at my job? Of course not. Because their job isn't to get you independent. Why would the banks be incentivized to have you learn about the Rule 72? They wouldn't. Why would the corporation incentivize to teach you how to be a strong entrepreneur?
Why would the insurance company ever want you to do insurance as a way to enrich you? It guarantees that we pay.
To be able to build a sustainable business, we have to be able to do something. Where we how we I'm 43 years old. I have 4 kids. And we got options. It's hard. We work hard. We got lots of resources. And it's funny that we're doing this tonight because, and I was telling some folks, like, I've been here a long time. And over the last couple of years, we re-engineered a lot of things. And I kind of go to the pendulum, right? Because I was in Primerica a long time and created a really successful business and did less things. And there's some things I didn't necessarily like about it. So we systematically eliminated them, kind of rebuilt them. And when we were building this, we looked out and I looked around and I'm like, so we're building a Primerica meeting. Like, we're doing this. Like, the realization today was, we are going to go build the #1 team in the country again. We're going to go build an army of advocates. We're going to go change people's lives. And we're going to walk you through the resources because I want to do this. See, David, Rob and I found a way to be able to do this when we want, where we want, when, with whom we want. We want to build a business with the people in this room. If I didn't, we wouldn't be doing this. I'm passionate about it, arming people with the tools and resources. If I didn't, we wouldn't be doing this. It fired me up to look around and go, man, working. We're going to go build a Primerica business. It's creating more 6-figure earners, more millionaires than any company in American history. I started at 22, at 25, I was making $100,000 a year. At 27, I was making $200,000. At 29, I was making $300,000 a year. I'm a little kid from Iowa No one showed me how to be an owner except a group of people that said there's a bunch of people out there that are struggling, and if you get good at delivering the message, you will find people that want to be on. The problem is we built it on finding the exception, and everyone else was like, maybe one day. And we said, no, we're going to build a business where everybody in this room can accomplish the things that are important. And that's a critical component of what this is, because we wanted a place for everybody. So we have a position we call our gathering asset partner. Our GAPs are people who love what they do. Dawn's an amazing teacher, works with special needs. She loves being a teacher. When we first talking about Bob and Dawn about building a business, she was like, look, I don't want to leave teaching. This is what I do. I go, I know, but if we could subsidize your retirement, if we could find an extra $3, $4, $5 million of managed money over the next couple of years where you could make a couple $1,000s every single month on the first, would that make your quality of life a little bit better? It's like, yeah, well, great. Let's create that space. We have our business plan associates. There's a bunch of people who show up, and after when a meeting like this is over, they look at me and they're like, yeah, Brett, this sounds good, but that's not what I want to do. I'm like, great, what do you want to do? They're like, I want to do X. I go, fantastic. Do you have the skills and the capital you need to make that happen? What do you think the answer is usually? No. What's your plan? I don't got one. But I got a question. If you invest in the next 2 or 3 years with experts raising entrepreneurs and showed you how to not only build this, but to build your plan, to keep you in alignment with what you want to get accomplished, what your goals, this isn't about a bait and switch. This isn't about convincing you this is going to be the right thing. It's about leveraging the hell out of the resources that we've got to make sure you accomplish your great moments. We've got our business plan associates. We've got our broker search. There's some people who love teaching people, right? I love Bob. Bob's like, I love helping people with their money. No one taught this to me. It's fundamentally important. Here's a space I'm passionate about helping people with their money. Great. And there's nobody better in the industry than the partnerships with Primerica. And then we got our entrepreneur training associates, the folks that are like, wait a second, I want to build something big. Right? The ability to leverage a $3 billion venture capitalist in Primerica. Their checks have never bounced. We get to build the capital and master the entrepreneurial skills. See, guys, the reality is whether it's as a gap or our business plan, brokerage, or an associate, right? The foundations are on skills and capitals, and that's what we want. It's not about convincing anyone to be anything other than they are. But man, what if over the next 6 months, year, 2 years, 5 years, you put $30, $50, $100,000 in your capital reserve? Does that create a little bit of freedom and options for you? If you understood how to plan and organize and communicate a message, right, that you want to get accomplished, would that help you in any endeavor that you're talking about? So guys, you can't take those skills away. That's the power of what we're talking about. And then one of my favorite parts, right, because we were talking about what differentiates us. Now, I love Primerica, been around a long time. There's a lot of successful offices, and there's a lot of people right now that are having meetings tonight that have big more people right now. We're going to talk about some of the differences as to where this goes. So I want you to understand one of the things that we're incredibly proud of. See, what you need to maximize your licenses is you got to get licensed. We're a regulated industry. You've got to get your insurance and your investment licenses. And guess what? A lot of us haven't studied a long time. And we put together systems and structures and tools to make sure that anybody who wants to get licensed, we will get them licensed. We will put in the time, we will put in the training, we will put together the resources. We will get people licensed. See, the reality is that that's an important part of our message. Is we say, look, we're going to make sure you're not going to see a family. You're not going to go out and make anybody any money until we get you licensed, because the first person we want to get profitable in your business is you. And so we sit down and say, look, 7, 8, 9 out of 10 people that start getting with us go through the licensing process. Now, some are a little bit slower than we want them to, and that's all right. But we create a supportive environment that says, when you're ready, we're here, but we're going to develop every tool imaginable to get us through that process, because we want to be proud of the steps that we take, and so that nobody ever says, oh, I didn't make any money. We're going to make sure that we develop a step-by-step approach, guys. Here's how this works. If you show up ready to learn, and we show up ready to teach, how do you fail? Someone told me a long time ago, there's enough books in the library, not enough readers. So the reality is, right? And I always go through these little things, but you guys have all heard that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You've all heard that story, right? You do know you can run them for hours so they get really thirsty. Right? See, I can't make anybody drink. I can't lead a horse and make them drink, but I can give them every tool, every resource, every vision, every opportunity, every place to put themselves into that and get them to emotionally understand that their lives in their hands and they've got the options and opportunities that no one's ever given to them again. And now, maybe, just maybe, they show up and they only got to hear it once for it to click. And you need people. So you got to have the licenses, you got to have the skills, then you have to have the people. Who are you going to tell the story to? And one of the biggest things about Primerica, one of the biggest things about businesses is they sit down and they're like, as soon as you sit down, you're like, hey, who are your 20 people? Take me your 20 people. Here's the reality of the situation. One, no one in our organization goes on appointment before they get licensed. Of course, we want to get this story to the most important people in your life. Why? Because if you're going to help somebody make sure that their family's protected and they're invested, of course we're going to want the people in our lives taken care of. But that's not where you're going to learn. See, what we do is we specialize in corporate financing and wellness programs. See, our biggest dilemma over the next 6 months is we don't have enough licenses. Right now, we've got 2 401ks we're working on. By the end of the year, the goal is 5, and by this time next year, the goal is 15 to 30 401ks in our organization, 2 school districts, and the opportunity to get this information to the people that desperately need it. We literally need 200 fully licensed securities people in the next 12 months to be able to service the people that we are going to have appointments with. And so we sat down and said, look, do I want your skills? Absolutely. Do I want you to be able to take this message to the most important people in your life? Absolutely. But you know what? Why don't you help us? Why don't we get this message out? There's so many people that need this information. There's so many people that don't have people to show up. We're putting together that system. We're putting our butt on. I said, we're going to build this with the leadership team. And we're going to make sure that the people who show up and want to get licensed, you're going to get licensed. People who show up and want to become entrepreneurs, you're going to become entrepreneurs. And the people who want to see people, you're going to see people. You can't. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. True. But you can run their ass so they're thirsty. We can make sure that we take every excuse away from you winning for your family so that you have the energy and the ability to not get stuck in the do-nothing category. See, because the way we're able to do this is our partnerships. See, Primerica is the largest financial services company, financial distribution company, Forbes magazine. But you start looking at this, this isn't about turning you into an expert. This is about understanding that our partnerships make this possible. That when we go into a company and we talk about helping them with their program, we got Fidelity and Voya, and actually we got some of the biggest, right? I was talking to the guy at Fidelity, he goes, we got the 800-pound gorilla that shows up and does the work. We're just negotiating by the end of the year. We're going to be doing health insurance in California. California's changing the rules, and Primerica is doing all the negotiations. They're literally going to roll this out and say, hey, here's the packet. And all we got to do is go through and do that. Answer Financial does our auto and home insurance, all the stuff. Right? They do Progressive and Safeco, all the same stuff. But instead of us having to negotiate all this other stuff, it's done. A $3 billion company says, hey, let's give you every tool imaginable because we want to make sure access is in the center. So with the right partner, what's possible? Is there enough to get the dream to? Are you living where you want to live? Are you raising your kids where you want to raise your kids? Are you driving where you spend what you want to spend? What are the things are you? It doesn't mean we're able to do everything we want to do right now. Man, it's fun to start thinking about it. The biggest fundamental changes. I remember any of you guys probably got to be over 35 years old. But any of you guys remember Lifestyle of Rich Kids? That's a TV show with a guy named Robin Leach, right? And all this other stuff. Not a little kid from Iowa, right? And so I'm watching this. It was a Friday night show, and they showed these beautiful mansions and all stuff, and it was like, wow. Now you go on the internet and see that stuff any day. And so it's almost as though we're living the life because we get to see it anytime we want. But then we go home and live where we live, and we talk to our kids about what we're talking about, like vacations and trips and all this stuff, and we get to visit it every once in a while. What if that visitation stopped? And what if you started? What charities do you want? What environments do you want? Where do you want to travel? feel good or something. Because at the end of the day, we all get to make our choices. Which box are you going to check? Doing nothing is action. Tonight really is about. If you're here tonight for the first time and someone invited you to understand what's going on, please do me a favor. Take a moment. They introduced, they thought enough of you and wanted you in their corner. Be really clear as to what's going on. And hopefully we created enough value that over the next 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, if they call you and say, hey, I'm a little bit better, can I come practice with you? Hopefully you believe in our message enough to be able to say yeah. Because the stronger they get, the clearer they get, the more articulate, the better they can convey this idea, the more lives they're going to change especially. And so they can't learn that on their own. They need the support of their families and their friends. If you thought of somebody who deserves this information, we're going to be back here 2 weeks from now. Probably a little bit cleaner. We'll figure this out. Right? We're getting it all right. But we're going to tell the story. This is not necessarily about recruiting a bunch of people. It's about giving exposure to the people that need to hear it. It's about making sure that every one of you, maybe as you try to explain it to him, you're like, I'm just not clear. Your ability to go, I want you to come meet this couple. They know what they're going on. I just think you got to meet them. And the ability to put good people in this room just to hear the message allows us to reach one more person.
The way that we change our access is if we start to give them information. That's what we do every day.
And if you would do it by yourself, something inside that says, I could use an extra $1,000. Right? So you're talking about these 4 ways. How that works? Well, this works like this. If you have your life insurance license and securities licenses, and we pay for them, and we have the training tools and the resources to be able to go through. We'll give you all the training you need for the life insurance and all the training for the securities. We've got classes, we've got resources, we've got all the things to make sure you need those licenses. And we develop a relationship with the company. We start going in. We got 68 employees that we need to go do business. And we like going in with 6 or 8 people. If I called you up because you had all your licenses, Isaac, and I said, hey, you got to work on Tuesday, and you said no, and I said, okay, I got 11 people I'd like for you to meet. Would you come? Maybe you can make an extra $800, $1,000, $2,000, putting together a plan for them, and you can develop those relationships. And if they leave their job, you roll that over, those become your clients, and you're developing your relationship. You'll tell that story. You think that might enhance your business? See, most of us will show up and play if someone would tell us where to show up. We can't make a horse drink. We can get to it. Why? Because I want everyone in Isaac's life to know the life he's going to change the stories that he wants. He's going to become a primary champion, tell this story to everybody. But the easiest way for him to do it is when they're like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, man, I just set up for a company. They're like, you what? See, guys, we're going to provide the credibility, the language, the tools, and conversations necessary to make sure that you understand that you are an entrepreneur. And then in the next year, 2 years, 5 years, your entire life. And you're going to go introduce and provide that to other folks and give them the opportunity to change. So whether
the capital to do
whether it's as an ally, it's as an advocate, or it's as an associate, think of the partners. We are going to go build a organization. We're going to do this. We need to find powerful allies. We need ambitious advocates that love being the center of influence. And we need new associates that want to be a part of changing the world, starting with them. Wherever you fit, you are part of this. Thank you so much for coming. We'll be around. If there's any questions we can answer, please answer them. Have a great night. So Saturday. Thanks.